Hello, I'm Phil, and today I'm going to show you how I make my gumbo. I've watched lots of videos on how to make gumbo. I've read a fair bit about how to make gumbo. I've been making it for a few years now, and there's a few things that I've learned. There's lots of different ways to make it. That's one of the things I've learned. So today I'm just going to show you how I make it. Okay, to start with, we've got the ingredients here. I've cooked up about 3 pounds of chicken. You can do more, you can do less. As with a lot of these ingredients, you can massage it. It doesn't have to be exact. But I've got about 3 pounds of chicken here that I've cooked up, and I've used Tony Chera's Creole seasoning to cook it up. And I kept the lid on it in the frying pan so that there was lots of juice in there, and I put the juice into the pot that we're going to end up making it with. I've got Harvest double smoked farmer sausage here. This is about 1 pound of sausage. This is one ingredient that you can really change up your gumbo with. Sometimes I make it with this sausage. Sometimes I make it with a hot Italian sausage. And as you'll see when we get to the end and you're scooping it up when you're eating it, each mouthful is almost different depending on which ingredients you put in. We've got some shrimp that we're going to add in at the end, just a half an hour before we're ready to eat it. Of course, we've got the celery, green pepper, and onion. It's about a cup of celery. Again, it could be a little bit more. And at the end, we'll add in our green onions. A few of the things that we're putting in there for spices, we will add again a little bit more of the Creole seasoning. If we're wanting to make it a little thinner, we will add some more of the OXO chicken bouillon with some water. We're going to put in a whole thing of chicken stock. We've got some cayenne pepper as well as some parsley flakes. The main part of our gumbo is made with a roux. So we're going to make the roux using a cup of flour and a cup of oil. It has to be canola oil. I've tried it with olive oil and it doesn't work. It doesn't get hot enough. So these are the main ingredients, and now we'll show you how to make the roux. It's important that you have these 3 guys ready to go: your celery, your green pepper, and your onions, because as soon as your roux is done, we're going to fire in the onions and then the green peppers and celery. You don't want to be stopping in the middle of your roux to prepare these. So it's good to cut these up. You can do this meal in stages, and this is a good place to get everything cut up to this point, and then you can grab beer, have a little rest, and get ready for making the roux, because once you start the roux, you're going to want to keep plowing through getting those ingredients in. Okay, let's make our roux. We've got our cup of oil in there. Now we're going to add our cup of flour. We don't want the oil hot when we add the flour. We want to get this all mixed together nicely before things get too hot. I've seen a number of different videos on making a roux. I've seen people that have it on a wood stove and take 3 hours of stirring to make the roux, which I guess, depending on what you've grown up with or done, that might be how you do it. We're going to take probably 20 minutes here, 15-20 minutes to do this roux. We've got to keep stirring. You can't let it stick. If it sticks and burns and you get black flakes in it, it's burnt, and you need to start again. So don't let it burn. Otherwise your whole dish is going to taste burnt. We're going to have this here, and we're going to keep stirring. A little trick that I have learned when I get impatient and it's not turning brown as much as I'd like. It's starting to heat up now so we can see the bubbles. But a little trick I learned, if it's not turning brown, is to add a little bit more flour, and that thickens it up. I think the thicker you have it here, the darker it's going to turn. So we're going to go here for a little bit past peanut butter color towards a milk chocolate color. From what I've understood, in the south, the further south you go, the darker they make the roux. So I've made it with a light roux and a dark roux, and I mean, the roux gives it a nice nutty flavor and gives it a gravy texture depending on how much fluid you add afterwards, and we'll show you that in a minute when we get to there. But we've got the heat on pretty good. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit so this has some time to cook up. But this is where we don't want to be going to do anything else. We're just going to stay here and we're going to stir this. Okay, and I can see that's a shiny layer on top with the oil there. So I'm going to add just a little bit more flour, and that'll suck that up. But we just want to add a little bit. And you'll hear it sizzle, and stir it quickly. It's also going to make it turn darker too. So we could stop here. I've stopped here before. This would be, I guess, your peanut butter kind of colored roux. We'll keep it going just a little bit further. We're going to add a little bit more flour. It's just a shake of flour in there, not much at all. Okay, and I think we're going to stop right about here. So now we're going to get ready to dump in our other ingredients. And remember, this is extremely hot and it's oil, so you don't want to spill it on yourself. We add the onions first. And we'll lift it up off the heat. Now it's going to cook the onions. We'll add the celery and the green onion now, or green pepper. And stir it all together. I was told if you add everything at the same time, the water from your celery and your green peppers comes out too much. So throw your onions in first. So that cools down our roux from continuing to cook and possibly burn. And now we've got our vegetables in there cooked. The other thing about adding the green peppers and celery a little later is it keeps them a little bit crunchier. So in your gumbo later, they'll be a little crunchier. So now we'll add this into our pot with the rest of our ingredients. So the roux is kind of clumped up on our vegetables. We've added everything else, our stock. Now we'll just stir it. Keep it on low heat. And the roux will come off those vegetables and we'll end up with a nice thicker gravy. I make my gumbo to be a thicker gravy kind of gumbo as opposed to a soup. You can just add more fluid, add more chicken stock. Use the OXO packets with the chicken bouillon with some water. But right now you'll see it looks really soupy or really runny. I won't add any more fluid and I'll show you how thick this gets. Okay, so we haven't added any water, but as you can tell, it's thickened up. It's like a light gravy. Okay. That's with a couple extra cups in there. One thing we will do is give this some time to sit, and it will continue to thicken up a little bit as it sits. So that roux only took us about 10 minutes, and some of the measurements, I put in a teaspoon of cayenne, 2 teaspoons of parsley flakes. I put in another teaspoon of the Tony Chichera's Creole seasoning, and you can just adjust all of those to the taste. If you want it hotter, add more cayenne. Okay, our gumbo's done. We've made some rice. We're just going to scoop out our gumbo on the rice like this. It's thick enough it can go on a plate. And there we go. And I have enough to build lots of extra. Put it into a container just like we have here. And then I freeze it just like that. That's probably the same amount I have here, enough for one meal. And I'll probably package up 8 or 10 meals like this. Okay, well hopefully this helps you make gumbo if you want to give it a shot. It's not that hard to make. There's some variations you can do to it. A little bit of practice, you can try a few different things and it's one of my favorite 5 things to eat. So I hope you enjoy it and give it a shot sometime. Bye for now.